All right. Thanks for coming back to Special Moments. My name is Kristen. This will be my second video. It's October 2019. That's why I have my little witch hat on. I'm going to be talking today about my daughter, my oldest daughter. She's 10 years old, and it's been just the longest journey. And to get to, where we are at this point. And I just thought it would be cool to make a video. I know there's a lot out there, but hopefully mine can help in some way. You know, maybe something different than you've heard in other videos. So let me start by saying that my daughter Morgan started having motor tics at about 4 years old. And then vocal tics. And so she started having motor and vocal tics. So I took her into the pediatrician, and they said that it is transient tic disorder. And they just said that, it'll go away. And I kind of just took it as that. And they also said that she has to have a motor tic and a vocal tic at the same time to be considered Tourette's. Because I had asked the doctor, can this turn into Tourette's? And he said, yeah, it's very unlikely. But, basically she has to have motor and vocal at the same time. So throughout the years, so she was 4 years old then. So throughout the years, she had never had a vocal tic and a motor tic at the same time. And so I never thought it was Tourette's. And so then comes 5 years old. 5 years old, she starts crying. Just crying a lot, tantrums, but it was new. And so I took her to the pediatrician just for like a normal, like her shots or something. But then I ended up mentioning she's having a lot of tantrums, blah, blah, blah. And he said completely normal for the age. Totally age appropriate. So let it go. So then, let's see, she's in kindergarten. And so then first grade. First grade comes around. And she starts showing signs of, legit depression. So there were things like crying all the time, crying over everything and anything. And then came phrases like, I wish I was never born. I should just kill myself, which for a mom hearing her daughter say that, it's just heart-wrenching. And so I went back to the pediatrician, and he said, okay, let's get her into therapy. So she went in to therapy, and it was play therapy. Maybe that works for some people. Some people I'm sure it's great for. It didn't help my daughter. But we kept doing it. And so we did therapy for about 6 months, and the depression was just getting worse. And so they ended up putting her on Prozac. At first, Prozac made my daughter so happy, so happy. It was amazing to see my daughter happy, in the first time in a long time. And so I loved it. I was like, it's totally working. And then some manic things started coming out. Lying, stealing. It was so hard for me to say this because all I wanted for, 2 years was for my daughter to be happy. But it was weird because she was too happy. And so, I told the doctor about it, and they had said that Prozac can induce a manic state. And and that it's probably bipolar. And there's a lot of stigma that goes with bipolar. And so it was hard, but, getting the diagnosis meant getting her the help she needed. My family, my husband's family, we all have a background in our families of mental illness. And so it wasn't shocking. And so basically we went on this ride of medication after medication that didn't work, that made things worse, that made rages worse. Didn't make rages worse, caused rages. Some she was allergic to. She's allergic to a long list of medications. So, break out in hives, and then we have to do something else. And anyone that has mental illness or has a child with mental illness knows that it is so frustrating trying to get on the right medication. So it was years of that. And then honestly, the depression, if it wasn't the depression, it was the severe anxiety over everything and anything. Whether it be her going to school, friends, going to a new restaurant that she's afraid she's not gonna like it, amusement parks, lots of, just anxiety about everything. And it ended up getting to the point where, I couldn't get her to go to school sometimes, or she, stopped doing homework altogether. So she actually ended up going to a treatment center, like a partial inpatient for 2 weeks, and then an intense therapy program for 3 or 4 months, which was amazing and a life changer, let me tell you. But that actually came to because she started doing things like taking her hand and bending it back, okay, and saying, "Oh, I just want to cut off my hands." And she would do the same things to her ankles, like her feet. She would bend them and say she just wants to cut off her feet. And the doctors viewed that as self-harm. And then pulling out her hair. She would pull out her hair, she would get upset and just pull globs of hair out of her head. Anytime she would have anxiety about stuff, say she had anxiety about, I have no friends at school, everyone hates me. My initial natural reaction would be to say, "What? That's not true. You have so many friends. You have this friend, you have that friend, people love you." And, or like, "Oh, I'm not going to like that restaurant. I'm not going to like anything there. What if they don't have anything I like?" Then it would be like "Oh, they'll have plenty that you like. It's fine. You're fine." Because I thought making kind of light of it, or, I was giving her encouragement. Like, if she thought I'm so ugly, I would say, "You're beautiful." Or, whatever it is, that's what I would do. In that intense program, the parents also had therapy for themselves. Not like, it was like parent therapy, not like me personally, one-on-one. It was like parenting therapy where they taught us parents how to react to these situations. And one of the things that is so kind of little and seems silly and does not come natural to me, but made a huge difference in helping with my daughter's anxiety, is validating her feelings. So that would look something like, or sound something like, "I'm so ugly. I'm so ugly. What if people say I'm ugly? Then instead of saying, "You're beautiful," I would say something like, "I hear you. You think you're ugly. I'm so sorry that you feel that way. That must be awful." And it did not come natural. It felt really weird to come out of my mouth. I'm like, I want to tell her she's pretty. That's what I want to say. Everyone hates me. Everyone hates me. Nobody likes me. I have no friends. So instead of saying like, no, everyone loves you. You have so many friends. I would say something to validate her feelings like, I hear you. You feel like you don't have any friends, and that must be so hard. I'm so sorry. And I always thought that reassuring her she has friends, reassuring she's beautiful, that nobody hates her, I always thought that would make her feel better, but it never did. And these validating her feelings, I mean, it's so crazy how good it works. Like, I don't think it really stops my daughter from saying these things, but it definitely minimizes the breakdown. It minimizes the time that it lasts. She can kind of get back into, not feeling that way pretty easy after I validate her feelings. So I'm sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. It's been a long road, and I don't really have too specific of a chronological order of which things have been. But so basically, a lot of depression, anxiety, and then OCD came into place, and she would be totally obsessed with things. Say she saw someone that had a car that she wanted. She would go online, research everything about that car, write lists and lists about that car, the year, the make, how much money it is, all kinds of stuff. Or if someone had an animal, we would go to someone's house and they had an animal, she would go home and she would be obsessed about just learning everything about that animal, right? Making the list of everything about that animal. It goes on and on and on, but it's like you think like, oh, your child researching something and making a list. It's not like that. Like, it doesn't really affect the parent, but unfortunately it does. It did. Not because she wanted to research it, not because of the lists. Those things are fine. That's perfectly fine with me. It was the non-stop, never-ending talking about whatever she was obsessed about all day. Mom, did you know this dog? Mom, did you know this dog has this and this dog has that? And please, can I get this dog? Please, can I get this dog? I'll do anything. Please, please, please. And it was just never ending. Like, I mean, like, not like a normal kid, like wanting something, like never ending. Just won't talk about anything else. So that was hard. And then if we ever got her anything, a week after having whatever we got her, she had no interest in it anymore. And that was frustrating also. Okay. So we went to that therapy. It was amazing. And she was doing better. She got on something called Risperdal, which was literally her miracle medicine. Okay. This is now from when she was 4, started having tics, to now this is 9 years old, that we're talking about 5 years of, trying to get the doctors to even realize there's an issue. And then me realizing what I am doing wrong and what I could be doing to help. And so then she was on Abilify, and that just made her rage so bad. And they said, okay, there's this other medicine called Risperdal or Risperidone. And it's very similar to Abilify. It's very similar, but for some reason, people that don't have a good reaction to Abilify will have a good reaction to Risperdal. So I said, let's try it. So a combination of that intense therapy and the Risperdal, magic. So my daughter was doing great. She still had the tics, but all the other stuff, the depression, the anxiety, the OCD, that stuff was kind of leveled out. And when it wasn't, I knew how to handle it in like the correct way. So So then, late last year. So last year actually around this time, my daughter ended up getting a vocal tic and a motor tic at the same time for the first time. She had tics all those years. She had tics, different ones, but never the motor and the vocal. And I had remembered that initial doctor telling me that it's only Tourette's if they have them at the same time. Sorry. So, let me tell you, I am not technology savvy at all. Maybe once I start making these videos for like a long time, like a year, I might start editing and knowing how to do that really cool stuff that other YouTubers do. But right now, I'm just like a regular mom who's trying to start in the YouTube world. So, and let me also mention that every time we had gone to a psychiatrist appointment, a therapist appointment, a psychologist appointment, a pediatrician appointment, any of those appointments, I would always bring up her tics. Always. Well, yeah, she has this tic disorder called transient tic disorder. Okay. So once she got the motor and vocal tic together, I went on some Facebook support groups. I'm on some other like Facebook support groups. My daughter that has the tics, she also was born with a cleft lip and palate. And so I follow a cleft lip and palate support group. And then I follow another one for my other daughter, but we'll do that in another video. So I went on a support group and I'm reading this stuff and I'm just like shocked. Like, it's saying that if they have tics for over 1 year, it's considered Tourette's. 1 year. We were going on 6 years of tics and no doctor ever mentioning Tourette's. And it made me sad and mad that we had gone through so much thinking that my daughter had bipolar and treating her as a bipolar patient, and just no one said anything. And so Tourette's world, I mean, if you guys know about Tourette's, if you have a kid that has Tourette's or you have Tourette's, then you know about the comorbidities that go with it. I did not. I didn't know it was Tourette's. I didn't know that all OCD, anxiety, depression, all of that goes with Tourette's. I don't want to cry. I've been crying for years. I'm trying to make a YouTube video. So, I'm going to just wipe my eyes real quick. Okay. So then, yeah, I started researching Tourette's and finding out all these comorbidities that go with it. And, that she's had all these tics throughout the years and all these issues that it's just like, this is what it is. This is what she has. Now, we don't have an official diagnosis of Tourette's. She has an appointment that's been booked for months now. It's going to be in November of this year, like a month away, with a neurologist. I am really hoping that with the videos that I've taken and all the history and stuff, that we can get that Tourette's diagnosis. Since I have believed that she had Tourette's, we've gone through some, if I tell someone, I haven't made it official on my Facebook. I think if I do make it official on my Facebook, I would obviously wait for a firm diagnosis, and then make it public. But I have told people closest to us, and I get comments. I have gotten comments such as, "Oh, I do that too. I blink my eyes. Oh, I do that when my nose is itchy. oh, I do the same thing. It's not the same thing. And I don't know if you're trying to make us feel better, but it doesn't. It's not validating those feelings and that, like, that diagnosis. You know what I mean? It's not validating it. It's not saying, I hear you, she has Tourette's, or you think she has Tourette's. That must be so hard. Something like that. I think that would just, yes, that's what I want to hear. But, and then I've also heard things like, oh, she has a very mild case. It's very mild. It's just, and again, I don't know if they're trying to make me feel better about the situation. I'm not sure, but it does the opposite effect, and it does not make me feel better. It makes me feel like they are dismissing me and dismissing my daughter's issues, which the comorbidities that she's had are way worse than the actual tics itself, which she has had tics that have hurt. Like she has an arching her back one that she's done, or this one, or this one. Okay, so that's another thing. The thing of the self-harm that the doctor thought it was a tic. She kept doing this. That was a tic. And after you've done a tic for, a long period of time, hours, days, whatever, like that part of your body, wherever the tic is, gets sore and it hurts. And so for a 6-year-old girl that is in pain, but she doesn't understand why, I just want to cut off my hand so that I'm not in pain anymore, is basically what happened looking back now. So we're waiting on the diagnosis. My daughter is still, she's still having a lot of anxiety issues, but the OCD has really calmed down. Her miracle magic Risperdal, unfortunately, she's been on it for over a year now. And something with Risperidone, is that they have to check your blood every couple months or whatever, because it can cause something in your blood that can make you diabetic. And so they check your blood regularly to make sure that you're not turning diabetic. And unfortunately, this last blood test showed pre-diabetic. My daughter has gained a lot, weight on it, which sucked, but it, it worked so good that the weight was worth it, I guess. So anyway, so they are weaning her off of Risperdal, which they do very slowly because it's an antipsychotic. And if you do it too fast, then it kind of makes them go crazy. So we're weaning off of Risperdal, and we are getting on Lexapro. She's only done her one first dose of Lexapro, like she's been doing it for months now, but we've only gotten that little first 5 milligrams or whatever it is. It's been rough getting off Risperdal, seeing as how, it worked so good, and now all these symptoms of anxiety and depression, so those are all coming back. I feel a little more confident this time around because we've been there before, and I learned tools through therapy, and through my sister that's a therapist also helps. But it's still hard. And also we're going through another issue right now where we're contemplating putting my daughter in homeschool. I've never been one that thought I could ever homeschool, but and I learned, I've learned that because I asked when we went into that intense therapy program, when my daughter did, I asked, should I just homeschool her? And they said that is the worst thing you can do for someone with anxiety. They're just going to isolate themselves more and get more anxiety about the world out there, And so I didn't. At this point right now, why I'm considering it is not because of her anxiety. Yes, she still has some anxiety, but she's doing it. She's going to school. She's getting on that bus. She's coming home, not melting down every day. But she did use the word miserable. She is miserable at school, which I told her how proud of her I am, because even though she's miserable, even though she says that she feels like she doesn't have any friends, that she doesn't fit in. Just the other day, so usually she would break down, everyone hates me, I have no friends, I hate school. So the other day, she just calmly said, like, Mom, I know you said no to homeschooling, but I don't fit in here. Like, I don't feel like I have friends. And I told her, I am so proud of you, because number one, you told me how you felt without breaking down. And number two, even though she hates school or thinks she hates school or whatever it is, even though she's not happy there, she feels like she doesn't have friends, she's still getting up in the morning, and she is still walking to the bus stop by herself and getting on that bus and going to school, which a year or two ago, she wasn't doing homework because she couldn't handle it. And she was crying every day before school, please don't leave me, please don't make me go. And so this is a big step for her. So one, I'm considering homeschool because she's not happy there, and it's not like about anxiety, it's just about her being happy. But number two, we're having a really hard time. She just went into intermediate this year, 5th grade. And this school, I tell you, it's like maddening. They're not following her 504. It's really frustrating. And I'm just like emailing, like, hey, this isn't her 504. You need to be doing this, blah, blah, blah. I asked for a 504 meeting to add accommodations because she's in a medicine change right now, and she needs things that she didn't need the last meeting we had when she was doing great on the Risperdal. And they said, her annual is not for 6 months. Let's do a conference. So I did the conference, and the conference went amazing. They said everything I wanted to hear. They had plans, but after that meeting, nothing, like, the things they said they were going to do, they're not doing. And then when I email them about it, it's very short replies. And like, there's no apologies for not doing what's in the 504. For example, I said, hey, in that meeting that we had, we talked about you putting a timer on for about 15 minutes before the bell rings so that Morgan can have a little extra time to pack up her bag because she keeps leaving her book or her homework at school, because when the bell rings and she goes on the bus. And so she starts having her anxiety thinking, I'm going to miss the bus if I don't go right now. And so then she ends up not packing her bag the way she should. And so we discussed the timer thing. And so then I let 2 weeks go by without saying anything to this teacher. She has 7 teachers, but this specific teacher, because I didn't want to be the problem parent, I wanted to give her time to get it set up or whatever. So I kept asking, hey, did you have the timer today? Did you have the timer today? No. So I finally emailed the teacher, hey, we talked about this timer thing. Like, do you remember? Do you remember, No. What happened was I had a meeting with the counselor and the vice principal, and they talked to the teacher. So then I said, hey, teacher, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Morgan's supposed to have a timer, this and that, like, and her response, all I got was, yes, I know about it. That's it. No, I'm sorry for not doing it. No, oh, I forgot. I'm so sorry. I'll get it done this week. Like, nothing. And then things in her 504, like having extra time for tests and extra time for homework and all this stuff. And then I'm getting graded tests and papers sent home with failing grades because she did not finish the test, or she didn't finish the work. And so the problems that she did do, let me tell you, besides anxiety, besides depression, besides having social issues, my daughter, she's amazing. She is so smart. She's smarter than I have ever been. And so, it's coming home with these papers that are graded with F's because she didn't finish them. But the problems that she did do are right. And it just blows my mind. And so, I wrote that teacher. It was a different teacher saying, in her 504, she's supposed to have extra time. And she says, Oh, Morgan didn't tell me she needed extra time. That's it. That's it. That's all I got. Yep. Or she was having some neck pain because of her tic, and so she asked her 6th period teacher to go to the bathroom, and the teacher was like, we have like 10 minutes left of class, just ask your 7th period teacher. So she asked her 7th period teacher, which is the last period of the day, and so she's getting, pain because it's been going on all day, and that teacher didn't allow her to go to the nurse. And so I emailed her and I said, my daughter needs to be allowed to go to the nurse or to the bathroom that is in her 504, that she can go anytime that she needs to. And she responds to me saying that because it was the last period of the day, she assumed that my daughter had already been and didn't think she needed to go again. Well, don't assume. You could have asked her and she would have told you, no, I have not been to the nurse at all today. But even if she had been to the nurse earlier in the day, you need to let her go again. So anyways, I know I could, I don't know, get a lawyer or get an advocate but I just don't know if I'm up for the fight. So we're considering homeschool, so I'll let you know how that goes. And I will let you know how the diagnosis for Tourette's goes. Wish me luck. Thanks for listening. Bye.